Next, from Champaign, Governor Rauner visits Franklin Middle School. He talks with students about his support for education and later takes questions from the class on a typical day of his and why a state budget has yet to be produced. Later, the governor talks to the press about ongoing budget negotiations and his education agenda. This runs about 25 minutes.
So I love working for you and your families. I've been governor for 2 years now. And before that, I was a business person. I helped grow companies in Illinois, invested in companies. And I've been working for teachers my whole life. The investments I did were on behalf of teachers so that they could have a better retirement. And that's what I did for more than 30 years. And now as governor, I regard education and working for teachers as the most important thing I can do. Education is the most important thing we do together as a community. And I'm working hard to make sure we get more resources and more support for our teachers so that they can help you be everything that you want to be. So when you grow up, whether you want to be a doctor or a lawyer or a dentist or a researcher or a business person, whatever you want to be, you can be that in Illinois and maximize your life for you and your family. Most important thing we can do. The single most wonderful work there is, the most noble profession there is being a teacher. You guys are very blessed here. We're all blessed in Franklin Middle School. We've got wonderful teachers, and we have wonderful teachers around the state of Illinois. Let's give a round of applause for our teachers. It's been an honor for me to work for years for teachers here in Illinois and around America, and now as governor, working hard. We set record level of support. We got more resources for our teachers in our schools last year than ever before, and this year we had a whole nother record level of support for schools, and I want to support our schools even more every year going forward. And as we increase support for our teachers in our schools, I want to make sure that even more support goes into rural communities, small communities, or communities where some of the families don't have as much money maybe as some other families, and where we need to make sure that the schools get the financial support even if the neighborhood can't give quite as much as we'd all like. So it's more equitable, it's more fair, it's more equal to make sure that every school gets and every teacher gets the proper support. So we're changing that system. It's hard, political change is hard, it takes time, but that we're going to get that done. And one of the things I want to tell you guys about, we're trying to use technology to get the word out about how important education is and supporting our schools. So as I'm traveling the state, for 2 years I've been going to classes and visiting and thanking teachers. But now we're going to use technology, and you guys are welcome to kind of join in with us. I don't know how many of you guys go on Facebook at all? You guys use Facebook at all? A few.
Oh,
okay.
stop it.
We're all there. I didn't say during classroom time, I said just in general. So we're encouraging students and teachers around the state to come on Facebook with us and share a little video. Make a little video, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes long, about the fun things, the innovative things, the really cool, effective ways that teachers are teaching or that you're learning. And we're going to post the videos online, and then we're going to encourage people around the state to vote on the neatest videos and most interesting way that teachers are teaching. We're going to vote on it, and I'm going to use those videos as a base to go visit and thank the teachers and to celebrate what's going on in schools around the state. And we're encouraging everybody to send the videos to Gov Classroom Visit at illinois.gov. So send them in. And it's all voluntary, it's all fun, and we're going to use that as a basis to go around the state and say thank you and to celebrate all the innovative ways that your students are learning around the state. It's going to be a lot of fun. But what I love, my favorite thing is being in the classroom, and I love doing Q&A. Anything people want to ask me, I enjoy it. We're here with some members from the press and the media. They're good at asking questions. But and they're going to ask me a lot of questions in a little while. But now's your chance to ask any questions. And actually, you're going to be famous. You're going to be on TV, maybe. So you can ask any questions that you want to about what's going on in Illinois or the government or anything else. And I'll try to answer your questions. Anybody have a question you want to ask? Yes.
What's a day in your life like? What's a normal day?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. Every day is pretty different. But my wife and I and our dog Stella live in Springfield. We love living there. And every day I generally meet with members of our government and our administration talking about management and how we're going to improve make the government more efficient so we can lower the tax burden on your family. And then every day I'm either on the phone or in person meeting with members of the General Assembly and the legislature. And we're honored, we've got several members of the General Assembly here today from nearby. And then most every day I get in the truck with some of the state police who drive me around. And we go to visit communities, like we come to Champaign, or we go to Decatur, or we go down to Marion, or we go up to Chicago, or we go over to East Moline. And we drive up, and on the drive, because I'm on the car a couple hours a day, I'm on the phone. So I'm talking to, teachers, I'm talking to business leaders, I'm talking to other political mayors and county chairmen around the state, talking about the challenges and the issues. And then when I get to a community, my favorite thing to do is to go to a school, and I visit a lot of schools, but I'll also go and meet with the mayor. I'll go and meet with some business leaders and try to get them to invest and create more jobs and help encourage them. And I talk with various members in the community. I go out and like later on today, I'm going to go to a restaurant and just visit with folks here in town and talk about what's going on in their lives, what they're seeing and hearing and what they're worried about. And I love doing that. So that's a pretty typical day. And then I do a lot of press conferences. I'm going to do one here later on. I meet with members of the press. Their role is to make sure that they ask good, tough questions of me, and then they report to your family, you and your family, about what's going on. And they challenge us to keep us on our toes and make sure we're doing good work, and I love that. It's very important. I'm a big advocate for freedom of the press, and having them be very aggressive out there, challenging and researching and getting the message out. And that's pretty typical. I do a press conference, not every day, but a lot, almost every day. It's really important to help communicate with everybody. So that's a pretty typical day. My wife comes with me sometimes. She's a big education advocate. She, for years, has devoted her life to early childhood education. She wants to make sure that child care programs in Illinois have a very high quality education component as part of child care, to make sure that young people who are 2, 3, 4, 5 years old really have education as part of what they're doing every day in their child care program, so when they get to first grade they're ready to thrive. So I'm in Springfield as my base pretty much most of my time, 3/4 of my time. We also still have our home up in Lake County, where I grew up in Lake County up in Wisconsin. My grandparents were dairy farmers up in Wetmore, Wisconsin. But my wife is on the road. She travels around Illinois, separate from me, on early childhood. But she's in 27 states doing early childhood education. So she flies in and out of O'Hare every week, and she's going to Washington, D.C., and New York, and Seattle. And so we're sort of ships crossing in the night. And I've got our dog Stout. So we have 6 kids, but they're all grown and gone. They're working or they're in college around the country. So we're empty nesters. We got our dog, so she's sort of my, our sort of child at home, and she's a bird dog. I'm a big bird hunter, and she's a Labrador Retriever, so she and I, like to get out and run around a little bit. It's fun to be there with her. I'm also a big motorcycle rider. I ride a Harley, and when it's not too salty on the roads, I like to get out and travel around the state too on motorcycles. That's a lot of fun. So that's a good question. Anybody else? Yes.
Do you follow any sports teams?
I do. I'm a big sports nut. People are always asking me, so Bears or other teams, or people always ask, so are you Cubs or Sox? You know what? And now in politics, what's a great answer? I root for everybody in Illinois. So when I was born, we lived near Wrigley Field. And my family, a lot of my family, Cubs fans. And I love Cubs. I watched them a lot when I was a little kid, growing up around there, up in Lake County, north of Chicago. But my grandfather was from Detroit. My dad grew up in Detroit, and they're big Tigers fans, and they were in the American League. And so when my grandfather would come visit me when I was like 8 years old or 10 years old, he took me to Comiskey Park to watch Tiger-Sox games. So I ended up, I was going to Comiskey Park as a little kid. So I root for the Sox and the Cubs. And it's really funny living in Springfield, because Springfield's kind of divided. Not too many Sox fans, there's a few, but it's kind of 50-50 between Cubs and Cardinals. And it's actually a pretty fun rivalry in town there, because half the social gatherings are rooting for the Cardinals and half for the Cubs. But I'm a big Blackhawks fan. I love going to. That's one of the best things to do in person. I'm a very big fan of Bulls, and I love. What I really love is high school sports. I go to a lot of basketball games and football games and volleyball games in central Illinois. I'll go out to Rochester or Springfield High and go to high school games at night. I really enjoy that. And I'm a big U of I fan, big University of Illinois here. And my wife and I have been supporters financially of the school for years, and I was actually on the strategic, what they call it, the Chancellor's Strategic Advisory Board here at the U of I for a number of years before I became governor. And I want to, we get a balanced budget, put a lot more resources into the U of I and really support the U of I and help it grow and have a even more beneficial impact for Illinois than it's already doing wonderful work, but I want to help U of I grow. It's a great question.
One more? Sure, we'll do one more
Okay.
question.
Yep.
Speaking of the budget, what are you and other lawmakers doing to help pass the budget?
Yeah, most important thing is changing our system and to get a balanced budget. I don't know if you guys know this, we don't have a budget today in Illinois. And unfortunately for all of us, we haven't had balanced budgets in Illinois for a long time. And frankly, if your families were as irresponsible financially as the state's been, you know, your family wouldn't be able to function. Basically, we've been spending money way beyond what we bring in for years and years and years, like 20, 30 years. We always either don't pay our pensions or we don't pay our bills or we borrow in the bond market. And it's created a lot of trouble. And that's slowed our economic growth. That's discouraged a lot of companies from coming to Illinois and investing and growing more jobs here. So we're working hard to get a balanced budget so we actually spend how much we bring in. And so we're not spending more than what we bring in, really important. But to do that, we need to change the system. The system has been broken and it's been causing the deficit spending. So we need to, the critical thing is to grow the economy and get more jobs. If we have more jobs and the economy's growing, that raises revenue for taxes so we can have more money for a balanced budget. And we need to change the system so that the cost, the bureaucratic cost of the government isn't so high, so that it takes money away from schools and our human services and costs just government operations itself. So we're trying to make the government way more efficient using technology and bring down the bureaucracy costs so we can put the money in the schools and in our human services. So we're working to do that now, change the system. I applaud the members of the General Assembly. Right now, Democrats and Republicans are coming together to work on a balanced budget with structural changes. And I hope, fingers crossed, we're hoping that they'll propose some ideas. I've proposed ideas, but I've said if anybody else has ideas, we'll do theirs. But let's change the system so we get more jobs, and we have an efficient government so we can put the money in our classrooms and our human services. Well, that's what we're working on. Hopefully we'll get it done soon. Well, thanks very much. Great questions, guys. Keep up the awesome work. Go Knights. Go Knights.
Well, good morning and welcome, everyone. I'm Judy Wiegand, and I have the honor and privilege of serving as superintendent for Champaign University. And when I was contacted about hosting a visit for our governor, I said, of course. I always look forward to those opportunities to showcase the great work that's taking place in Champaign Unit 4 schools. And just listening to the governor this morning about how much he believes in quality education, it really resonated with me because, again, that is what our purpose is here in Champaign Unit 4, and I always believe that a quality education is really that great equalizer for everyone in our community. And so, again, the opportunity to showcase all the great work that's happening here at Franklin Middle School, and Sarah Sanders, our principal, has been a very gracious host. And so I have the opportunity right now to introduce Representative Hayes.
Thank you, Superintendent Wiegand. And you know, it's a privilege for me to be here and to echo the sentiments that you just heard. It's truly impressive what's going on here at Franklin Middle School, and I have an opportunity to meet with your superintendent with some frequency and hear what the challenges are. And one of the things that has certainly come through loud and clear, and it's something that Governor Rauner has been absolutely insistent upon since the day he became governor, was funding for our K through 12 schools. As you may know, the funding went as low as 82 or 84% for the foundation funding level for K through 12 schools in this state. Last year, it was between 94 and 96%, and this year, this fiscal year, for the first time in forever, the funding level is 100%. And I've been very, very proud to work with Governor Rauner to make sure that that is the case in Illinois, and hopefully it continues to be the case. And it's my privilege to introduce our governor, Governor Bruce Rauner.
Thanks, Jim. Good morning. Thank you for joining us today. Today's a very wonderful day. Education is the most important thing we do together as a community. Our focus as administration, as governorship, is to make sure we've got the best schools in the world in every neighborhood and every community in the state of Illinois. Key part of that is making sure we have proper support, financial support for our teachers in the classroom. I think many of you are aware of this. Illinois has been the worst state in America for decades for state level support for local schools. We give a smaller percentage of school budgets from the state of any other state. This is wrong. This is a failure of the system. It's just one other way that our system has been broken and hasn't been working for the people. That's the reason my first year in office we fought to increase state support for schools. And this year we increased it even more and to record level funding. And every year going forward, we're going to put more resources from the state into our local schools so we can have the best schools anywhere in America in every neighborhood. As part of that, we need to change the allocation, the way the funding is done, so that rural districts, smaller school districts, and especially lower income school districts get disproportionately more resources from the state to make sure that there's an equal opportunity for each teacher in every classroom to have the resources they need, equal support, so they can be the best student outcomes possible for every student in the state. That's what we're focused on changing the funding formula and also putting in more resources. As part of our touring the state, I love visiting schools. I visit dozens on a rolling basis all the time. I really enjoy saying thank you to the teachers in the classroom. And we decided to make this more fun and interactive with a lot of the teachers and the students as we're traveling the state. So we started a little friendly competition. We're encouraging teachers and students around the state of Illinois who'd like to send in a short video, make a short video and post it to our Facebook spot, showing the innovative ways, the fun ways, the effective ways that teachers and students are learning, teaching and learning in the classroom in each school. We're doing that here in Franklin Middle School today, here in Champaign, but we're encouraging this all over the state. Send in a video to Gov Classroom Visit at illinois.gov, Gov Classroom Visit at illinois.gov. Send in a short video, 2, 3, 4 minute video to Facebook location for Gov Rauner, and we're going to post it, and we're going to encourage people around the state to vote on them, and then we're going to use that as a way to celebrate and thank teachers who are doing very innovative, very effective things, and we're going to use that as a basis for us to come and visit in person in all the communities all over the state. So we're encouraging everybody to get involved. It's going to be fun, and celebrate all the cool things that are really going on inside our schools in Illinois. So with that, should we open up to questions on education or any other topics that you want to talk about?
How important is it for you to do this, stop by schools around central Illinois and all over the state to, make sure our youth is kept up and involved?
Well, it really, for me, it's both personal and as well as just a core part of my job and working for everybody in Illinois. Education is simply the most important thing we do. I ran for governor because my wife and I are both very passionate about education. We want outstanding educational opportunities for everyone, and we want to make sure that our teachers are properly supported. My wife has dedicated her life to early childhood education, especially for young people in disadvantaged communities, to make sure child care is focused on education for 2, 3, 4, 5-year-olds, so when they get to first grade, they're ready to thrive. And much of my work as a business person and now as governor has been supporting teachers. I worked for teachers for 32 years as an investor, working for them and their pension funds to make sure they could have a good retirement. And now, as governor, I've worked hard to make sure that we're supporting our teachers. I love going in the classroom, listening and learning. I've learned so much about the innovative, good work that teachers are doing, and I want to make sure we share that around the state, and we bring all the innovative ideas we can. So, traveling the state, meeting with teachers, visiting classrooms, one of my most enjoyable things, but also most important work that I do. So, we drove up today from Springfield. I'm in the truck every day, driving around to different communities all over the state, and focusing really on schools.
Governor, could you elaborate on record level funding from a numbers perspective? Is it 100%? Does this encompass all the state mandated programs? Does it take care of transportation? What does it mean that we're at record level funding? Well,
this is where we're at a higher dollar amount coming from the state to K-12 schools than we've ever had in Illinois history, but we need to do more. We still do not give enough, in my opinion, and we should put more next year and the year after that and the year after that. And again, we should make sure that the increases disproportionately go to the lower income districts and the more disadvantaged districts that don't have the same resources that some more higher income schools do, because we need equal opportunity for every student and every teacher. So we're going to put more in, and to your point, we'll find innovative ways to make sure we support not only teaching in the classroom, which is the most important thing, but all the other services, the special needs, transportation, other support services, we need more resources there too, and we'll work to do that.
Governor, do you feel that, are you confident that the level of school funding the state is giving today is going to be sustainable once the state actually goes back onto a balanced budget, has to figure out how to factor in all its other expenses, plus the backlog of unpaid bills and debt?
Yeah, it's a great question, and my emphatic answer is yes. Education has got to be the most important place where we put our hard-earned taxpayer money. Our taxpayers are working hard. It's their money that we're asking them to part with, so we need to treat that with respect and be very efficient about it. We in Illinois have made a mistake for years. Prior to my becoming governor, I believe that the state government cut school support from the state 4 times in the prior 10 years. This is a mistake. Our priorities have got to be education first. There are going to have to be some cuts and other things. What I mostly want to focus on cutting is government cost, wasteful spending, bureaucracy, the redundancy, and making government more efficient and effective. That will take money out of the bureaucracy, so we'll have more resources to put in schools. The other thing we need to do is make our economy more competitive so we can grow our tax base. That if we grow our tax base, we don't have to raise tax rates on people and the hardworking families. We'll have more jobs, more economic activity. That generates more sales tax, more income tax, more property tax, and then we'll have the resources to make sure we can have a balanced budget and more money for schools, both.
Governor, you talked today a couple times about changing the funding formula for education. Where are you at in that process?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I'm very proud of the bipartisan group that's been working. You know, we created a education funding task force last fall. I don't remember the exact date, but they've been working for months. They're meeting weekly, sometimes a couple times a week. And the feedback I'm getting from them is that they're getting very close to a recommended set of changes that both Republicans and Democrats and education experts all agree is the right way to do it. They're focused on, I think the technical term for it is evidence-based funding. Fund what works based upon actual data, not some sort of random other basis for allocating the money. And there seems to be bipartisan agreement that that's the right answer. My main focus, I have not been pushing them to do one thing or another. I've wanted them to just come up with their recommendations, and I want to try to support their recommendations. The big thing for me is to make sure that there's more equity. There's not a, we not only have been the worst state for supporting schools, the lowest percentage, but we have the highest gap between what higher income schools have and low income schools have. We have the biggest gap of any state in America. This is wrong. This is not fair. It's not just. It's denying the American dream to low-income families. So we need to change that and close that gap.
Do you have any thoughts about the Donald Trump's pick on education secretary?
I know Betsy DeVos. I have great respect for her. She's very talented. She's a passionate believer in high-quality education for every student, regardless of zip code or income level. And she's a strong education choice advocate, and I support education choice as well. I've been a supporter of charter schools for years, and I'm also an advocate for tax credits for parents who would like to send their child to a non-standard school or a parochial school or private school. I think more choice and more options for parents is a good thing. And that competitive dynamic with different options can help drive quality and encourage accountability. So I'm optimistic. I hope they do good things for education from the federal level, and I look forward to working together. Okay.
Governor, since you're here, the U of I trustees, there's 3 that have expired terms.
Yeah.
Any plans yet on reappointing? I know Ricardo Estrada doesn't want to seek a reappointment, but 2 others do.
Yeah.
Do you have a plan for reappointing them?
Well, we have a plan. We are working hard to make sure that we have got an outstanding board of trustees for the U of I. I'm a massive fan of the U of I. I want to support them as the school, as I did as a private citizen and now as governor. And I'd like to get a balanced budget and a capital bill with the balanced budget and put a lot of resources into our universities across the state, but especially U of I. U of I has extraordinary faculty, extraordinary students. They're already, the U of I is a major economic engine for the state, and I want to take them to a whole nother level. Expand, grow, and even help them have an even more positive impact on the economy. We need a budget to do it, we need a capital plan to do it, but I'm going to put more resources in the U of I. As part of that, I have been talking and interviewing a number of incredible potential trustees for the U of I board. And if we could land one or two of the individuals that we're talking with, it would be national, international headlines. It would be extraordinary. We're not there yet. We're having the discussions. I'm not patient, so I'd like to announce it like tomorrow. But it's a little bit of a process getting some of these superstars. They're busy. There's a lot of demands on their time. But they also care about the U of I, and they have connections to the U of I. And if we can get them to be willing to serve on the trustees, it'll be outstanding. So we're working it. We'll keep you informed. It's still a little bit of ways away before we have anything to announce.
Thank you.
Thank you, Governor.
Thanks. Thank you.